I played something different. Another one that is Swiss on a technicality. I would say it is statistically...
I was eating a Toblerone while playing.
It is statistically 50% Swiss, because I've been playing a game called The Bug Butcher. It's an arcade-inspired, arena-based, run-and-gun game. It's developed by a two-person studio called Awfully Nice Studios. And the main coder is from Austria, but the artist is called Till Aschwanden and hails from Switzerland. So half the team are Swiss. So I'm having that. The Bug Butcher is available on all platforms, including mobile. It draws heavy inspiration from an arcade game I really like called Pang, and that is really its primary point of design reference. Now, to explain how it all works, in Pang, your character must avoid bouncing balls and other obstacles on single screen stages. You have to carefully time kind of taking vertical pot shots upwards to clear out all the enemies of a level before moving on. And it's very fun, it's very frantic, and it takes real skill to get good at, because you're constantly having to adapt to the simple physics of these targets careening around the stage. Different objects have different weights. Some will float slowly down towards you, others will bounce with more urgency. But you've got to think about your position on the screen to not get eaten and minced by whatever's coming towards you, basically. The Bug Butcher takes all of what made Pang fun and tries to make a more involved single-player game from it. So you are a little spaceman tasked with clearing out wave after wave of aliens from different space station locations. And variety here comes in the form of the way that each alien bounces or moves around the play space a la Pang in its own kind of way. They've all got patterns to learn and ways that they react to your shots and everything else. Some will just go down in a single shot. Some will take multiple shots. Some will splinter into ever smaller enemies and bounce around. Again, like the game's arcade inspiration. The visuals here, and that's the bit I need to talk about, I guess, especially seeing as that's the Swiss part of the project. They're really good. They crib heavily from the very elastic design of Alien Hominid, whose primary artist, Dan Paladin, is, I would say, alongside Ed McMillan, still probably one of the most successful Flash to not Flash crossover artists of the early 2000s onwards. They both very much cut their teeth making stuff in Flash. Their visual design really reflects that because of how kind of stretchy everything feels. And now they're both making games and things, obviously not using that as a primary platform, but have maintained that kind of look. Your little bug blasting man has a lot of character to the way he mooches left and right. All of the enemies have a great squidgy, almost like Animaniacs quality to the way they kind of pulsate and bounce around the play space.
Steven Spielberg produced.
I know. There's an endless score mode. There's a more focused, mobile-inspired, go for 3 stars on each stage style single-player campaign that I've been trying to work my way through with limited success. Regardless of which mode you choose, though, there's a range of weapons and power-ups to snag. There's persistent character upgrades to be had. There's a lot of variety, really, in what is ostensibly quite a simple game. As you go through the campaign as well, stage hazards begin to be introduced from the second batch of levels onwards, and then they further mix up the challenge as well, because you're avoiding maybe like a fire hazard at the side of the screen or something that appears for a small period of time and then disappears or whatever. So there's always things to kind of manage and balance as you are shooting enemies too. I'm currently halfway through the campaign. I'm at a bit of an impasse because... 1, it's hard, and 2, using my brother's patented reworking of the mastermind mantra, I've started so I'll finish, I find it tough to move through levels when there are still stars to be had. So when it says there's 3 stars and I beat the level and it goes, you got 1, I go, well, I could get 3, couldn't I? If I just carry on, I could get 3. But it's really tough in this game because it's not only about your score, which means you need to play consistently well and not take damage and everything else, but almost every level is also tied to having a pretty much unbroken combo as well, which means that once you kill an enemy, you've only got a second or two to kill another one to keep the streak going. And
that sounds so stressful.
Yeah, the multipliers are getting higher and higher as stages go and making that harder and harder as I try and get through it. And it's really tough. But in a way, I think this is the real game, because pushing and playing for speed and having to make split-second decisions about whether you're going to dash to keep the combo alive or play it safe in the corner is how Pang works as well. If you're playing it in the arcade, you've got a timer at the top of the screen ticking down. You need to be kind of actively moving to make sure you get through the screen, get through the stage, and also hopefully try and get up the high score table, in classic arcade fashion. So it's nice that the Bug Butcher manages to capture some of the white knuckle play, even if you're not actively trying to kind of go for a place on an online leaderboard. It's still captured the arcade feeling, I think, even though the structure is different. Talking of my brother earlier, we played an ungodly amount of the semi-modern Pang remake, Pang Adventures, back in about 2016. I had a copy on the PS4, and we beat the entire thing in co-op. We got kind of the top rating on every single stage. It took us months of on-off play, and I'm really excited to find time over the summer, now that I've broken up from school, to show him the Bug Butcher and see if it piques his interest enough to try and play through it in co-op as well, because that's another mode I haven't touched, because I George's not going to play that with me. So I'll see what he thinks, if it's something that kind of gets him interested. It's hard to say, given that I've not played it, obviously, if the game elicits the same level of like communication and sort of spirit of dynamic planning that Pang did. But if the care they've put into the rest of the game is anything to go by, I think it's got a fair chance that that will be pretty successful as well. The Bug Butcher, I think, is a really strong package. It's another big plus for Switzerland. It looks and sounds really nice. It plays well. There's plenty to do for the few quid it'll set you back. Again, I got it in the Switch, not the summer sale, a previous sale, because there's always 3,000 games discounted. But I picked it up at some point for literally £2 maybe. And I know that you don't necessarily enjoy kind of twitchy arcade inspired games, so it's probably not going to be for you. But if anything I've said has pricked anyone else's ears, I would say do check it out, because I'm playing it on the Switch, but you can get it anywhere. It's on phones as well. It's a mobile game, it's a PC game, it's a console game, it's a handheld game. Wherever you want to play it, it's there. And it might be that someone goes, oh, that's exactly what I was after. So yeah, the Bug Butcher, I think, is a good game. It is half Swiss, half Austrian. We've obviously been to Austria before when I talked about SpongeBob SquarePants.
And I did Dungeons of Hinterberg. Hinterland? No, Hinterland's a Welsh thing.
Round the world in 80 figures of fucks. But yeah, Switzerland, pretty good. Even though a more limited selection of games, some really interesting and pretty solid indie titles in there if you want to kind of dig into the weeds a bit.